And spawn here at the bottom right. He's our red Protoss, playing for Storm Gaming. Give it up for MAXPAX.
And the top left from Ents Esports, he is currently undefeated. No maps lost. Can he keep it up? I would be quite the feat if he could. It is Serral.
Yeah, I think that will be the dream for Serral, to go 12-0 in this entire tournament. As well, actually not 12-0, 13-0. Oh wait, no, not 13-0. Wait, so it's he's got 9 wins in a row and then plus 7, so 16 in a row. Oh no, he needs 4 more. So wow, I'm doing math on stream. 9 plus 4, 13. So yeah, 13-0 to get a clean, perfect tournament. Can he do it though? I think MAXPAX can win a game or two.
Yeah. I really do feel like this series is going to come down to what kind of a play style we see from MAXPAX. So is it just going to be straight up, ground units and is it going to be like the hero style, or is it going to be more of MAXPAX's old style, which was very reliant on the Stargate units? I think MAXPAX is able to do both. We are going to see the Stargate first. This is pretty standard, especially on a larger map like Moon Dance, and we see nice here. Just a bit of harass here on this base, just to make sure that's not going to be able to go up. The Adept as well is going to come down, and this is just trying to delay Serral's third, which is doing a very good job of that, and it's quite annoying for Serral. He's going to have to bring the Queen all the way down just in order to get this hatchery up, and even then the Adept can deny it with the shade for even a little bit longer after he is pushed away. And yeah, and actually now that the Queens have been moved out, the Adepts are just going to shade straight up into the main. Might be able to find a little bit of value. They shade a bit far away though, and so drone's going to be pulled away. Lanes can just be focused down one at a time. No real risk there to the Adepts, as drones are going to start to fall. 2 of them going down. Split fire here on the next ones. 4 in total falling. And yeah, this has been really good harassment here for MAXPAX. He's also killed off a ton of links. 7 so far falling. I mean, 1 Adept will be killed, but in exchange for that, just continuing to harass here with the Adepts is definitely worthwhile. Behind this, Oracles are on the way for MAXPAX. Has a second one coming on through. This has not been scouted by Serral. He has not seen this, and so this is the first inclination that it's going to be Oracles, just because that early pressure having to be handled. Ooh, only 2 drones go down before the Oracle has to get on out of dodge, but third Nexus on the way for MAXPAX, and it is not that far behind the third of the Zerg, which is definitely, I mean, a nice solid a bonus here for MAXPAX.
Yeah, a great start for MAXPAX. I mean, I think he's taking advantage of how spread out these bases are, and especially with him denying the what would be the natural. It will be an even longer distance for the Lings and the Queens to travel back and forth into the main and the second base, and so he was able to take advantage of that and put on some nice decent damage here. As you can see, a lot more minerals being lost here by Serral, and MAXPAX being a lot more efficient and getting his third base relatively quickly.
Yeah. Let me see just the Lings and positioning here for Serral, getting the scouting out. I mean, so far it's been a great early game for MAXPAX. 10 drones lost, even more so as we're going to see 2 Oracles dive on in, 3 in total produced, 3 more drones go down. So 11 drones, 8 Lings. For the only a loss of, I mean, a probe and 2 Adepts, it's very worthwhile for the Protoss at this point, and it is going to be the Blink and +1 follow-up. So we're going to be seeing MAXPAX go into a very, very standard Protoss follow-up, and it's going to be one that is very, very powerful in the current moment. Of course, against just straight up Ling Bane, its value is decreased a little bit because they don't get that extra damage versus light units. And the Zerglings after the first blink, if they can find a surround, will just chew through those Stalkers. But even with that, I think with the advantages that MAXPAX has with all three of these Oracles being alive, this is a very, very good position for the Protoss. And he's going to already move out preemptively just to start to clear up creep and provide at least a little bit of pressure onto the Zerg so that Serral can't just sit back, macro up, and then get into a super comfortable position for when this push eventually comes.
Yeah, so of course the idea is that you push out the creep, and then yeah, there's the potential of lings around, but with the Oracles, especially with 3 of them, you're pretty much safe as long as you don't fight too far into the creep, where the queens get on top of the Oracle. And of course you can throw down stasis traps, but it looks like Serral has different plans as he's going for a bailing bust. Oh my goodness, so many probes going down.
Oh, this is such a good move here by Serral. 7 probes already falling now, making his way down to the other base. Scorpions are going to come through. Will they be able to snip the bailing in time? Yes, they will, as now the Oracle's coming in as well to help defend. And it looks like MAXPAX should be able to clean this up. And, of course, with how the opening went, he's only down 3 workers after losing 13 in comparison to that of the Zerg. Serral's just pretty much going all in at this point. There's no worker production. It's +1. Zergling is going across the map. This positioning from the Stalkers is extremely good. You see that wall off completed, and it is. And I just feel like this move by Serral is being completely shut down. And MAXPAX, I mean, this has just gone from good to better for this game 1.
Yeah, he's going to be sitting on more workers. He's got even amount of he got even amount of bases as well, 4 to 4. And right now, Serral's stuck on Ling Bailing tech. Now, he is going to go ahead and start getting some Bailing drops going as the Overlord is turning into a Drop-A-Lord. But he's still got to deal with this attack at the front.
Yep. I mean, the Stalkers are coming through. Revelation has been popped. There is a surround setup here, but we're going to see that Stasis Ward already deny a lot of these Zerglings. I just feel like the Stalkers can fight this straight up. There's no need to even have to blink away. The Queen energy is depleting. Low health Stalkers will blink back, and I think that this is going to be plenty of damage here for MAXPAX. Queens are going to start to fall. Oracles will come into support. Blink forward there onto the Queens, and they will go down, and now you can start to camp these units as they are, I mean, being produced. It still is +1 Zergling, so you have to be careful as MAXPAX is going to try and find himself a nice position here in the corner, but the surround is good. And Serral going to be able to clean up this first batch of Stalkers. More coming in to support. Zealots as well now going to be added on, even without charge. Able to tank up a lot of damage. And, I mean, this is just, it's a 4-base Protoss versus a 4-base Zerg. And MAXPAX has more workers. And that's, I think, the tale of this game right now.
Yeah, it's just the economy for MAXPAX is so much better. As you can see here, a huge spike for Serral at one point, but it has gone down a little bit more spike here for Serral, as it seems like MAXPAX was able to, or kind of forgot to probe up, and looks like Serral once again going for an attack here. Gets 15 probes actually, which does even up the worker count. So all of a sudden, Serral looking to be in a dire situation. Now, I mean, he's got 1/1 upgrades on his lings. He's getting the infestation pit. Is Serral turning this around?
I mean, it feels like, yeah, he's up about, I mean, only 10 supply though. It is just straight up Ling Bane right now. Infestation pit is being added on. +2 is going to finish here for MAXPAX, and right now he's working on Charge Lot and the Blink Stalker. This is a composition that fights what Serral's working with a lot better. But look at this, Ling Drop is going to be heading in towards the back of MAXPAX's base. There's already a cannon there, though. Zealot run by already set up as a second part to this. It's 4 Oracles. The 4 Oracles in the air here for MAXPAX. As we're going to see the Stalkers blink away. Good blink so far, but the Oracles haven't been turned on. All of the Zealots are dead, and I feel like a bit of a misplay here by MAXPAX. Did not handle this as well as he could have. As Foxfire is going to come through, but it's +2/+1 Zerglings. And again, against the Zerglings, the Stalkers are just not as efficient. It feels like Serral has recognized exactly what he needs to do, and he's saying, yeah, no, I'm just going to produce straight Ling Bane, and I don't think you're going to get the splash damage necessary. And he's right. You know, MAXPAX has not gotten the splash damage, and so these Zerglings actually trade very, very well straight up.
Yeah, surprisingly. I mean, I guess the upgrades did help as well. But yeah, he just didn't get the splash damage. He needs to deal with these Lings. And so these Lings has been kind of the crunch for Serral, as he's just getting better and better trades. And I mean, the Overlord drop didn't get as much, it seems like, but it's okay for Serral. I mean, as long as he was able to defend that attack, then, you know, that's all good, because MAXPAX, he's basically stuck on gateway units for the time being. Does he have anything else going? No, he's still just relying on gateway units and producing more oracles. Wow, he has 7. Oh, let's see here, 6 oracles. So that actually going to do well against what Serral has. I think Serral should try to add in maybe some Hydralisk or something. It looks like, yeah, he's throwing down his Hydralisk then. So he recognizes the fact that he's going to need something to deal with all these oracles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, right now, yeah, this is actually so interesting how MAXPAX is, as a response, he's just adding on the oracles. And I mean, currently sitting at 6, going up to 7, they will just absolutely shred through whatever is on the ground for as long as they have the energy to do so. But mind you, once you're at this oracle count, I mean, think back to the days of Mass Oracle. You can just send these into a base and snipe hatcheries. You know, that's how much damage they do. Yeah. It is quite ridiculous, as the Banelings there are just going to get exploded onto some Stalkers. MAXPAX. The Zealot's actually pretty happy here to fight these Zerglings straight up. As, yeah, that base is going to be pressured this 5th here. I mean, it's 5.5 bases, I guess, here for MAXPAX. Very, very important that this does get up, as Adrenal Glands, Groove Spines, there will be Hydralisks eventually now on the way for Serral, who is getting his 6th base up himself. But those Hydras are going to be a little ways out until they're in large enough numbers to be able to really fight the Oracles. Right now, sitting at 8, it still feels like, I don't know, this army for MAXPAX, 22 Stalkers, 10 Zealots, and the Oracles does not feel like the strongest to fight what Serral has right now, as the Oracles are really necessary in order to, I think, fight the Zerglings. And right now they're just, I mean, the Zealots are all going to get blown up here by Banelings. And yeah, it feels like Serral is just back in the driver's seat in this game.
Yeah, I just don't like the army composition of MAXPAX. I mean, both his army, in terms of the ground and air, are flimsy units. These are very easily killed. They're kind of a little bit of paperweight sometimes. And he just doesn't have that meaty units to add in. I mean, maybe he can add in some Archons. Looks like he's throwing down a Robo. Maybe can get some Disruptors. Or, I don't know, something. Maybe Charge Lot. But even Charge Lot, I mean, the Lings and Banelings should be able to deal with that relatively well. And so MAXPAX, he's kind of basically, I don't know, there's not a lot of answer for what Serral has in terms of Lings, Hydralisks, and Banelings. And I'm kind of getting worried here for him. But he does have still a lot of Oracles, so maybe.
I don't know. The Banelings are rolling in, and right now this base is being completely decimated. The Oracles, they're just not as useful as MAXPAX needs. Other splash options, I mean, Storm would have been, I think, better in this case, as Serral just rolls through, and it was such a good start here for MAXPAX in this game. I think it was about as good a start as you could ever hope for in this game versus Serral, but just does not feel, it just doesn't feel like it matters. 40 probes go down, MAXPAX is down to 51. The army that he's using is still just subpar in comparison. It's tier 1 gateway units, and sure, you can make magic happen with those units, but you gotta be ahead. And that's the issue right now for MAXPAX, is that he's not. And GG's gonna be called. Serral picks up map number 1, still has not dropped a map. I mean, how do you mix it up? Because obviously I think that was a pretty standard build order from MAXPAX. Potentially you could see a few different options if MAXPAX really does want to kind of mix up this build, and that could be a few things. That could include Double Stargate is something that we've seen Protoss like Hero do. You still eventually transition it to ground play, but it can be nice just to catch your opponent off guard. Even just going for a straight up, more aggressive build. Like sometimes, I don't know. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if some players have been using Archon drops again in PvZ.
I haven't seen that as often nowadays, but that could definitely be an option.
Yeah.
I do see some Protoss go for, disruptor drops actually. So we can see MAXPAX open up with that. I mean, you kind of opened up with 2 disruptors into a War Prism, and then maybe you can start transitioning to maybe Colossus Tech or something else. And then you just kind of fly around with War Prism speed and then just try to blow things up while you're kind of expanding on your side. Then if the Zerg player wants to go for a counterattack with like mass roaches, then you at least have the disruptor in hand to defend.
Yeah. I think, Stargate coming down. We're gonna see metabolic boost for Serral, of course. Had to take the kind of the natural base at his 3rd base location. That's how usually MAXPAX has been doing. It's gonna be the oracles once again, so it's not gonna be any switch up here. And so we'll see if MAXPAX does just end up going for again the same +1 Blink Stalker timing, or if it's going to be something different, such as, I mean, I don't imagine we're going to see MAXPAX go for anything like Glaved Adepts or a Charge Lot all in, but you can just head quicker into your ground tech, adding on, as you said, disruptors or some of that splash damage. So we might see that, but it does feel like right now, just off of this opening, the Blink Stalkers are probably the safest option, just for defense.
Yeah, I mean, it did work out relatively well for him, at least to start off the game. So, I mean, he was clearing out the creep. I just think that he stayed on the Stalker tech for too long. He should have started transitioning sooner. I think it would have been a much different game had he done so. But it looks like, he's going to go ahead and open up pretty standard now. Will we see a 4th or a 5th Oracle? I think he's going to stay on 3 Oracles for now. He's starting to add in the tech here. The Twilight, the Robo. We should start seeing their gas as well, because you need some gas to research the blink and the +1 as well.
Yeah. All right. Roach Warren on the way here for Serral is a bit of a mix-up. I don't believe he actually even got his Roach Warren in the last game, but we'll have the option of going into Roaches here. And the Roach does, again, it offers a better answer to something like, well, the charge. And this is, Snoopy, I don't get it. How does Serral do it? As it's gonna be charge, it's gonna be +1. MAXPAX said, okay, instead of Blink Stalkers, I'm gonna go for this chargelet attack. And Serral has just read it perfectly. Serral doesn't even have information on this. He's just saying, he might do charge lots. And it just goes to show that game sense of knowing what your opponent might be thinking and reading kind of what their play might be dictating. And it's just done extremely well. We've seen, a low Stalker count so far. The 3 Oracles have done, minimal damage in comparison to the last game. 5 Workers, though, is still a decent amount. But, yeah, this is, again, it's not all over for MAXPAX, though. Because, mind you, Serral hasn't scouted this. This is a safety Roach Warren. This is one that you get when you don't know what your opponent is doing, so you need that option available to you. However, if it's not scouted, you could still get caught off guard by the charge lots. Yeah,
I think the idea is that Roaches, they are pretty good against regular gateway units. So even if MAXPAX went for Blink Stalkers, which it looks like he went for charge instead, he still would have been okay, because if you can you mix in Roaches with speedlings and you're pretty fine. And then if it's just mass charge lot, then your roaches also can handle that. I mean, assuming that you have enough. You don't there's scenarios where the Zerg has little roaches and there's like a mass amount of charge line, and the charge line just gets around and kill off all the roaches. But here we go. Looks like MAXPAX is going to go ahead and start moving out. Now, important to note, there is no warp prism, so he's basically warping in back home and then walking them across the map. And wow, actually these charge lots getting really significant damage on these lings with that +1 upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is what happens if you're not able to scout it out. The roaches are a bit late, and so that means that the queens are starting to go down. 17 roaches in the production tab, but they're not out just yet, and you're already seeing these units get on into the base. I think the oracles here need to be retargeted as the zealots trying their hardest. Roaches are now out, though, and this is where it gets really dangerous here for MAXPAX. You are super committed to this. Behind it, he is still probing, though. It is really the big news here. There's still probes coming down, so even if this gets cleaned up, it's not game over for MAXPAX. He's leaving himself options as the roaches are starting to fall. The stalkers just getting so much value. The roach warren is going to go down, so no more roaches available for Serral. Has 10 more popping out, and that will be it as the oracle's still providing vision here up onto the ramp. But I think Serral is going to have enough to clean it up, as the roaches should be able to. I mean, the Zealot's getting on top, though. The +1 is just brutal. And, I mean, this has found more than enough damage, even if it doesn't kill Serral. This is, I mean, so many stalkers force, queens go down, and behind this, MAXPAX is comfortably on 75 workers.
Ooh, what a close call there. I mean, for a second there, I actually thought Serral was going to go down, and imagine if MAXPAX was even more committed, and instead of going for extra probes during that fight, imagine if he had a closer reinforcement point, maybe a proxy pylon or a war prism, and just continuously massing more charge lot. That would have, I feel like that would have snowballed, and MAXPAX would have been able to win the game that way. But all in all, he's still in the great shape. He did more than enough damage, was able to delay the roach warren production. The roach production by taking out the roach warren. Now Serral, on the other hand, he's like, you know what? You take out my roach warren, that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and transition to Hydralisk, which is actually pretty good against what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. The stalkers are trying to push here, but I mean, right now you actually don't. Yeah, the blink back is a little bit late, so a lot of damage goes down onto the stalkers. And look at this ling run by. 10 probes go down. Serral just knowing exactly where to hit right now, as we're going to see the zealots warped in. They should be able to deal with this quite well with the +2 now available, as the stalkers continue to press forward. That +2. More and more zealots coming on in now. I mean, Serral has a lot of units produced, though, behind this. I mean, you're seeing MAXPAX actually behind in the army supply. Stalkers can't be the ones tanking right now. You need the zealots to fight against those zerglings. There's +3, +1 now on the way for the Protoss, expanding to a 5th base in this game. Looking almost even better for MAXPAX as he managed to catch Serral out there with the charge lots, and now just continuing to apply pressure, continuing to force trades and force responses out. But again, we are going to need to see a transition from MAXPAX. You can't just stick on charge lot stalker. We'll need to see, I mean, Archons. We need to see maybe Colossus even would be amazing in this situation. But those transitions just aren't on the way. There's just no additional tech right now for MAXPAX, and I think that's going to end up being a real issue if he's not able to end the game here with these blink stalkers.
Yeah, I would love to see MAXPAX transition right about now. I mean, I think because he's on equal basis, like he's going to be okay for the next couple of minutes. But surely, as the game goes on, like that's going to spell trouble for him if he doesn't start transitioning into something else, a higher tier, maybe some splash damage units, because the gateway play can only last you for a certain period of time if it's just if the players are still like just trading pretty evenly. But as the game progresses, these Hydralisks and these slings and these banelings are going to show their might.
Yeah, absolutely. As now Hydras are out, and this just makes it so much harder for the Stalkers to really be as efficient as they would like to be. Stasis Sword is triggered very, very nicely by Serral. And the big issue for Serral, while MAXPAX sure is not transitioning, Serral is stuck right now on 4 bases, and that just makes it so hard for the Zerg to keep up here in the department of just what tech you're going for. But look at this, Baneling run by. He's going to be able to try and find some damage. There is a cannon there, but the probes have not been split properly, and that means that 9 of them are going to go down. And the whole army has to be brought back for MAXPAX. I mean, this gives Serral some much-needed breathe room to start on that 5th base. Look for this Ling run by here onto the 5th of his opponent. It's just going to have to back on out without finding too much value at all. But this gives Serral some time. But mind you, that also gives MAXPAX time to finish this 3-3. Zealot run by onto this 5th base. And he's not going to be able to cancel it. Very nice surround here with Lings. He's going to be able to clean up all these Zealots at the same time, though. Stalkers are going to look to pressure onto the 3rd, onto the 4th. And MAXPAX is just handling this so well. Needs to blink back, though, away from these Banelings. The splits are so far aren't the best. The Banelings finding some decent connections as the Hydra just chew through that armor on the backside. As the Ling's coming now in for the wraparound, and it feels like this push is going to be handedly shut down. And Serral, I mean, he's just finding some really good trades here on the back end of these, as MAXPAX feels like he's committing a little bit too far with the tools that he has.
Yeah, now MAXPAX, he's doing a great job keeping up with the pressure, not allowing Serral to get out of hand. The creep still quite, recessed into the Zerg space, and right now he's doing what a gateway or mainly focused gateway focused Protoss should do. Just gonna start expanding like crazy. He's still got one more base at the bottom right that he needs to take, but for the most part, he has taken his half of the base. But again, as we mentioned, he needs to transition, and that's exactly what he's starting to do. Adding in that robotics bay, going to start taking it to, I would assume, maybe disruptors, but also Colossus work well with what Serral has. Colossus doing well against Lings, Banelings, and Hydralisks, but Serral, he is not wanting to allow MAXPAX to get into this point, as he is going to go ahead and charge on forward, taking out a lot of these stalkers, but there's just too much counterattack across the map, and MAXPAX, he pulls out the first win, the first loss for Serral here. And
all right.
yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised that this is the map here for our 3rd map, because this is I don't know how you feel about it, but it seems like it's not the most popular one of the ladder map pool. So I would have expected it to be like our 6th or 7th map, but here we are.
Yeah, I definitely think the layout of this map is one that is a bit unique. I mean, if you look back like many years ago, you actually did see quite a few maps like this with the top spawns, but as of recently it has not been as common. But it's pretty much, I essentially look at this like a Blackburn just flipped upside down, with a bit of a different layout. The bases are mostly in the same pattern. You have the extra gold added on, of course the 2 pocket expansions. But other than that, the layout is pretty similar in terms of where you have the center ground and all of that. I think it's a nice map. I definitely think that there's a lot of variety that I've seen on it so far, and the gold base definitely adds in that interest. A full patch mineral gold base, of course, just makes it a little bit spicier. We are going to see the Stargate opening though once again, and here's my question, Snoopy. Are you ready for trivia?
Yep.
How many pools are there on the Stargazers map?
Pools. Okay. Wow, that's a lot. I'm gonna guess 8.
You are so close. I believe it is 10.
Okay.
Not including the ones on the side of the map. I believe it is 10 within the map, which makes me kind of sad. I was really hoping that there'd be 12. That would just be the icing on the cake if there were 12 pools.
Then every Zerg will go for 12 pool openings. Yeah. It's like, I'm just paying homage to this map, Yeah,
I'm just, I'm doing what it wanted me to do. Come on. Sheesh, I can't believe it. But yeah. It is a fun map though. So we're gonna see the oracles come on out. Same opening here from MAXPAX. Pretty darn standard. Nothing too crazy. And We'll have to see what the mix-up here is for MAXPAX, because so far it's been the same openings for... it was the same kind of defense for Serral every game, of course. But what is MAXPAX going to do? Well, he's taking a very fast third Nexus here in the pocket expansion. This is, I think, always a good choice for the Protoss. It's very safe to do, and it's pretty easy to take, as we're going to look for that tech. Stargate is done. We've so far seen just the 2 Oracles, haven't gone up to 3 just yet. And there we go, double Stargate. This is the build I was talking about that MAXPAX could mix in, and now, this could, of course, be 2 Stargate Void Ray, but it can also be 2 Stargate Phoenix. It's something that we've seen a lot of Protosses mix in. Serral should be able to scout this, but is he going to scout the Fleet Beacon that's also been placed down? As MAXPAX is going up to a very quick 3 bases, and he just says, yeah, no, I'm going to go to carriers. Ooh, this Overlord, I think, is going to be able to scout it. The Stalker was not brought up in time, and yeah. Fleet Beacon is seen. Serral is going to click on it. And so, full knowledge there as to what's going on.
Yeah, that's a great scout. Serral can cancel that Roach Warren if he wants to, because he knows that there is going to be more airplay. Oh, I guess he's just going to go ahead and just leave it.
Yeah.
Alright, looks like a 2 Adept Harass. Kind of keeping Serral busy. But I'm wondering, like, what response Serral is going to go for. I mean, he's got plenty of options, considering that he has scouted that quite soon, early in the game. And he could go for Spire, or he could go for Hydralisk straight up, go for Infestus maybe, like with Mass Queen. So what do you think Serral might go for this game?
Yeah, there's a lot of different responses that you see people do. And you, of course, have the Dark response, which is he just goes Roach Ravager, throws in the Infestors, and then starts fungling and biling everything. I think the response that Serral is probably going to go for would either just be straight into Corruptors, or, as we see, is going to be a Nidus Swarm with lots of Queens. He's going to be adding on as many as possible to try and just kind of Nidus on in here at the front or into one of the bases with the Queens and knock down the MAXPAX before he even gets a chance to expand to a 4th. But MAXPAX, he's just going across the map. This is going to be up to 3 carriers. A 4th is on the way once this supply block is over. This is going to be an interesting matchup in terms of how this actually plays out, because if MAXPAX gets damage done with these carriers, he can actually really reduce the amount of possible damage done with this Nidus.
And there we go, Nidus at the front side. However, Serral needs to deal with these 2 carriers before he can put those Queens into the Nidus. And gonna go ahead and shoo the carriers away for the time being. Nidus pops out, and here we go.
Yep. Biles coming down, the shield battery is immediately going to go down. More shield batteries in the back, but this is so many units here for Serral. He's only sitting at 66 workers. There are 4 carriers now available. But look how many Queens there are. 15 of them are going to start to knock down these interceptors. Man, this is a very, very dangerous position. Actually, it's not even shield batteries. It's cannons, because you saw the Cybernetics Corps get eliminated. Disruptors on the way, and if the disruptor comes out, that can help MAXPAX out. But he's got to be so careful right now, because Serral is just barreling in. Now Disruptor is going to come on out. First Disruptor shot is going to be dodged pretty well. Only a single Ravager going down, as that Disruptor needs to be moved away. Snipe onto the robotics facility. It still is just the 4 carriers. The 5th one is in production. And MAXPAX, what do you have left? I mean, it's really just not a lot. Shield batteries are going to go down. This next Disruptor shot is going to be available soon. Now it's going to go out. Snipe on the Disruptor is not going to come through in time. And a lot of Roaches are going to go down, but you see these carriers are starting to lose their interceptors. And this is going to be the second base just, given up now as the Queens are going to march in. But Serral has to be careful about this creep. If his Queens go off creep, that transfusion is not going to be available to them. As one Queen, is just going to get transfused away. And the ramp is going to be blocked here by MAXPAX using that Stasis Ward. But behind this, what is Serral doing? Well, it's 5 more workers, a Spire. And this has been the damage that Serral has wanted. It's bought him enough time now that he's going to start to make his way into his Corruptors.
Yeah, he has done more damage than he could have ever hoped for. He's been able to take down, one of the bases, which really limits the amount of gas mining. And when you're going for a carrier build like this, you really need the gas. I mean, those are what is pumping out those carriers. And Serral has every intention to just contain MAXPAX on only 2 bases. He can pretty much set up like a wall of spines if he wants to, like put some drones into the Nidus, pop them out, make some spores, just place them all the way into the natural, spread the creep, and just keep MAXPAX starving on these 2 bases here.
Yeah. This is a really dire situation for the Protoss. Archons have been added in. Disruptor is still, of course, available. Disruptor shot is going to go out, but the dodge is just beautiful from Serral. And, I mean, sure, there's a lot of interceptors. Right now we're looking at, what, 29 interceptors, 5 carriers, but the Archons are all getting low. The Queens are still alive, and they just don't do a lot of damage. There's no +1 here. For the interceptors, there's no upgrades on them. As the Queens are still going to stay alive, transfusions come through. And I think MAXPAX is pretty soon here going to realize that this game is, I mean, pretty close to being over.
Yeah, right now Serral almost maxed out. And Serral almost maxed out. MAXPAX still on 2 bases. Well, actually not even 2, like 1.5 bases, because that main base is about to mine out. And Serral has those corruptors, should be able to deal with those carriers much better. This disruptor is gonna maybe get a shot out, and it's okay-ish, but still just too much on the ground here for Serral, and he is gonna take the series lead.
In the top right-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, from ENCE Esports, he is your blue Zerg, the Finnish phenom. Up to 1, it's Serral.
Spawning here at the bottom left, the guy who wears a mask, because we never get to see his face, but he's playing for Sidestorm Gaming. It is MAXPAX.
And I like the idea in that last game. It's a good map for it, Stargazers. But again, it all comes down to that scouting. Serral just on top of it, knowing exactly where he wants to go. And so it ends up being a pretty concise game there. Serral finds the damage, and that's that. And now we're on to Waterfall. And so we talked about this in our previous series, actually, Serral versus Clem. This is a pretty small map. The rush distance is a little bit longer than you expect, just because it goes a bit diagonal, but it is essentially you go from your natural to their natural, and that's it. That's the rush distance. But you have these interesting shaped third bases. The one that you would usually take in the triangle formation, we've actually seen what a lot of Protosses will do is they'll actually wall it off with gateways. As you're transitioning into your Blink Stalkers, you usually add on 4 gates, and 4 gates just about walls off that entire ramp, and so that adds a lot of safety to this map for the Protoss that the Zerg definitely has to respect. And so I definitely feel like we might see MAXPAX go back into the Blink Stalker play, at least for this map.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, because it's so small, he doesn't really need that War Prism as much. So he can just move out with the Stalkers, just make sure it has the Orko to back them up, and play and revert back into that gateway style unit. And
yeah, very interesting here. Twilight Council is going to come down first. No Stargate opening for MAXPAX. It does lead me to believe that this might be a Glaive to Depths build. Again, this is a good map for it. It's a short rush distance, so you can absolutely do that. And so we'll see what the upgrade is going to be. We have about 150 gas. If MAXPAX want to go for Blink, but we'll see once we have the minerals what this is going to be. 2 more gateways being added on. I really have a feeling this might be Glaive to Depths. Yeah, there we go. Resonating Glaive's on the way, and MAXPAX once again going to be mixing it up. And this is another build that Serral's going to have to scout out. Does have 2 Overlords in position. There's only 1 Stalker available, so I think realistically Serral should be able to scout this, but then it's always the question of reading whether or not this is actually Glaive to Depths or if it's Blink or Charge. I think in any case...
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think he's gonna realize that it's glaive just because there's only 2 probes mining off of that gas. So he should recognize that, okay, yeah, you're not mining as much gas. That should kind of indicate that there's gonna be a glaive adept build.
Yeah, but there we go. Roach Warren immediately on the way. Of course, if it was 2-base charge lot, usually you'd see that gas pulled off of. And I think, yeah, MAXPAX realizes there that he kind of gave it away, puts 3 on, but it's a bit too late. Roach Warren is already on the way. Adepts are going to move out, and this is all the indication that Serral needs. MAXPAX pulling the trigger. And this is all in. Yeah, there is no real getting out of this, even though it's only 3 gates. This is Glaive Adepts and the Robotics Bay follow-up. So you got to find damage with this. This is really it. Adepts are going to try and shade into the natural, but that is immediately canceled. I think MAXPAX here is actually starting to switch gears with this Robotics Bay. I don't know if he's going to fully commit right now to just the Glaive Adepts.
Alright, looks like he's adding a 4th gas. So yeah, he's gonna go ahead and, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he just went for a 2-base all-in with disruptors added on. I mean, that could be really strong.
Yeah, nice. I'm really gonna see a queen go down there. 2 adepts on into the 3rd are gonna be denied. 2 more are gonna be warped into the main as the queens are continuing to be pressured. And actually, that could be a queen snipe, but we're just going to see MAXPAX back on up. Shade completes into the natural, though. Going to start to find some damage here. Can't focus fire onto the drones quite quick enough, but he's going to start to clean up the Zerglings. They're just a little bit too many to really find success. This queen's now also going to deny the Warp Prism once again. It's going to go down. And this is not looking good for MAXPAX. Serral is just, I mean, he's just handled this perfectly.
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, that forces MAXPAX to make another Warp Prism, which means he can't make those disruptors. Right now, he should be making those disruptors. Instead, he's got to wait for the Warp Prism to pop out first. And so that does buy Serral so much more time to build up and defend against this this potential push that's coming, because we do see more gateways being added on. No dirt to speak of yet for MAXPAX, so it seems like, yeah, he's going to go for a 2-base all-in.
Yeah. I mean, he has to right now. There is going to be disruptors for this push alongside Gravitic Drive for that Warp Prism speed, so you will have the ability to have that splash damage, and that could swing the game. You know, if MAXPAX just finds a massive disruptor hit on the queens, if it hits the roaches, that can swing the game, but it is going to be a lot relying on this. MAXPAX actually just going for the 3rd base. He says, listen, I need to try and catch up. I'm going to use these disruptors to buy time. And then what I'm doing behind it is, well, I'm expanding as disruptor balls go out. Don't really find that much damage. A lot of queens weakened up, but no drones killed so far. Really need to find some success with this. With the speed disruptor drop.
Yeah, I mean, MAXPAX is right now just banking on the hopes that these disruptors are going to find something to at least even up the scoreboard a little bit, as the supply is just way ahead here for Serral. And also, like you said, buying himself some time to get that dirt up and mining. But Serral, he's got his roach speeder along the way. He's got his Baneling Nest as well as the infestation pit. So Serral, he's sitting happy.
Still continuing to try and find damage here. We have the infestation pit on the way. Disruptor shots are going to go out again, but you're finding single drones worth of damage right now as you're just struggling to catch up as MAXPAX. This is just... it's a rough situation, Snoopy. It's a rough situation. And yeah, infestation pit is going to finish centrifugal hooks for those banelings. And we'll see what Serral is going to do, but honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Serral just starts to max out on roaches from here on out. He's at 68 workers. He's going to be on 4 hatcheries. I think at this point you just start to add on more and more units as this counterattack is already set up. There's going to be no warping in the wall, so that Zerglings into the natural. And MAXPAX just has to pull back, has to recall. Yeah, it just hurts because MAXPAX, he wanted to push there. They wanted to find damage, and now he's delayed even longer. He might clean this up for sure, but I mean, behind this, Serral's going to be adding on more lings. He's going to be adding on a hive. +1 has now finished. And and more units are going to be produced.
Yeah, Lings are gonna be doing so well against these stalkers. Lings in general do very well against stalkers. So you add along with those roaches and ravagers, it's gonna be quite difficult for Serral to be broken here. I mean, MAXPAX does have 3 disruptors, but 3 disruptors is not the scariest.
Corrosive Bowels going out. Stalkers pushing forward. Disruptor shots not going to be able to find connections. And Serral is just buying time. I mean, he knows that eventually he's going to have enough to just roll over this army. It's finally we're going to see one good disruptor connection. And MAXPAX, I mean, he's made miracles happen before with disruptors. He can absolutely do it again. As blink back, stalkers need to split right now, and they're not. Disruptor shot is going to be able to snipe 2 of the Ravagers, but these Banelings just find so much value, and I think that's going to be it. I mean, when the Banelings hit that well, there's not much you can do. GG, Serral is on to match point. And we'll see. I mean, as I said, Cosmic Sapphire, this is a map where I feel like a lot of Zergs are enjoying this map just because outside of the first 4 bases, it's very hard for the Protoss to really get a comfortable base. The 5th base is really far out, has a lot of attack paths into it, and that opens up a lot of the rest of the map, really. And so it ends up being a very interesting kind of matchup here on this map, and we'll have to see how MAXPAX, what he decides to do, because if you decide to go into that macro game, then it's completely reliant on your ability to get a 5th and then maybe a 6th base. That is really what's going to decide it in the long run. And so, do you once again throw in a little mix-up? Do you try and do something different to catch Serral off guard? And if so, what is that going to be? Do you go back to something that you've already done, maybe?
You know, I think with this map being so hard to get, you know, like the 5th and 6th base, like you mentioned, I think maybe MAXPAX want to go for maybe a 3 base timing of sorts, or maybe even try that, you know, that charge lot kind of timing again. I mean, it did work out for him once. Maybe he can kind of catch Serral off guard once again, but I would say maybe a 3 base timing could be a potential option. I guess we shall see, as there is a Stargate on the way for MAXPAX.
Yep. And Stargate once again going back to it. I mean, I think it makes sense just with how handedly Serral defeated the Glaive Adepts and that read. So going back to something a bit more standard is going to be the Oracles. I mean, honestly, on this map, I wouldn't even mind to see something like the 2 Stargate Phoenix. I definitely feel like that is a kind of a build order that can catch the Zerg a lot more off guard. Because if they scout the 2 Stargates, or even if they just see the Oracles, they might expect it to be they could expect the Blink transition, and the Phoenix. Just as if you can mask them up, this is what we've seen Hero do with the unit, is if you can mask them up, you can really catch your opponent off guard, force a massive response out of them, and then your ground transition is that much more potent.
Yeah, I actually like that idea. I think it would serve MAXPAX well. I mean, when you go for a 2 Stargate Phoenix, you're gonna be well, I guess never mind. Looks like he's just gonna go ahead and into a 3rd base, but yeah, it looks like a kind of a 3 Oracle gateway kind of build that he did before. Didn't work out for him as well, but maybe he can execute it better this time. I guess it did actually set him up well in the first game. It's just that I think he just relied too much on Stalkers. At a point, you gotta stop Stalker production and go into charge lot production, and then, you know, just mass expand. That's how it usually works. So maybe he can kind of refine it this time around and make it work this game here. Now his tournament life is on the line, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, this is really it. We're gonna see the Twilight Gauntlet come down 3 gateways. It's pretty stock standard here. We are seeing MAXPAX though split up. His Oracle's still not gonna be able to find much success. Serral, really good positioning. This is what we've seen a lot of Zerg start doing, is with the Queen positioning, especially Serral and Raynor. Raynor even takes a step further actually and moves his Spore Crawlers onto the edges of these bases of the creep, and with his Queens there just to deny the Oracles a step even faster. Has always been an interesting way that they've kind of adapted to it, and I haven't really seen like many Korean Zergs do it. Like I definitely, you haven't seen like a Su do something like this. Su and Dark sometimes really get caught out by the Oracle harass. As +1 and Blink is on the way, so MAXPAX, he's going back to basics. You know, this is it. This is your last life. You need to try and do something standard. And look at this, 4th Nexus coming down very, very quickly. And this is what we see some Protosses do to try and take advantage of the fact that the Zerg can't really punish this while you're going for the Blink Stalkers and while you have these 3 Oracles out on the map. And I think this is a very, very nice move here from MAXPAX, just considering this map and the situation that you've been in. If you take this 4th base that is up, this kind of on the left side of the map, the 6 o'clock base is so much safer to take later on, and that's kind of guaranteed minerals, but you can wall off that gap with gateways or with any sort of building. So I really like this from MAXPAX. He's already kind of formed his own gateway wall, though, at his 3rd base, just to make sure that that option is not there for their Zergling run-bys.
Yeah, I really like this too as well for MAXPAX. However, I do think Serral is actually responding to this rather well, because he did skip the Roach Warren. He knows that MAXPAX is going for greedy build, and so he is going to go ahead and not, just not rely on Roaches, just skip straight into Hydralisks. And Hydralisks with Lings and Banelings deal with heavy gateway units pretty well. So, I mean, if you can get the Baneling connections on the charge lot, and then, the Hydralisk got the range to clean out the rest, the Lings can get this around. So it works out for Serral as well, the way he's responding. He's even getting the melee attack weapons as well as the Baneling centrifugal hooks. But here we go. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a skirmish here out in the watchtower. And some nice stasis traps for MAXPAX. Yeah,
also the run-by being shut down there by some Zealots. Going to be able to stop Serral from really finding damage, as right now MAXPAX is a very healthy work count. But look at this. The surround coming through. Oracle's being brought back in, though, just to get rid of the Zerglings. And now we already have Hydralisks on the map. So what is going to be the next stage here for MAXPAX? Well, charge lots. He needs to start to set up those run-bys with the charge lots. Is really, I think, going to be the big part of this. As again, State Sword going to get triggered. Nice blink backs on the Stalkers. They're going to start to find some decent trades, but as the Lings chew through, it gets worse and worse. These Oracles not really being used. And about this point, MAXPAX really needs to throw on some additional attack. I mean, he hasn't started his +2 yet, even. And so you need to do something else. I mean, more gateways even would be nice. You're seeing 11 gates. They're not really being utilized, though. We would really love to see some Zealots being warped in here. There is one set that is going across the map on the left side. But the front is going to need a little bit more help, as that 6th or the 5th base is going to be denied. Zealot's just going to be able to stop that. This hatchery here. Serral's 5th hatchery, I don't think is really going to have much trouble with that small amount of Zealots. I don't think they're going to be able to really deny it. But again, what is the additional tech here for MAXPAX? It's not a lot, and this isn't like a game with the charge lot opening where he got a ton of damage early on. This is a game where Serral is very comfortably on 76 workers. MAXPAX, though, has gone up to 83. So you have to be careful, because the Zerg is actually sitting with a higher worker count than you, or with a higher army count than you. The Protoss units, they have to trade more efficiently as Banelings are going to start to roll on through. Where are the splits from MAXPAX? They're not really there. Finally, he's going to start to blink back and split, as now the Zealots are going to try and come in, wrap around as Serral commits on forward, but it's just, the Zealots do not do well in this situation, as Zerglings have cleared up the Zealots on the other side of the map, and this is looking risky here. MAXPAX has to retreat on back, warp in more Zealots. And at the front, I mean, at the wall, into the natural, the Zerglings have broken through, and now they're going to start to get into the mineral line, and Serral is just, it seems like, winning on every front right now.
Yeah, Serral just playing out of his mind. He wants to win this with a convincing and dominant 4-1. And MAXPAX just doing his best to survive, but he's got to clean these annoying lings at the main base. In the meantime, there's going to be a rotating around with Serral's army into the, I guess, 2 o'clock base here. This 2 o'clock will get shut down as MAXPAX has no way to defend it. And those links at the natural still going at it. My goodness.
Yeah, and the 5th base is going to go down. I mean, this is just getting worse and worse here for MAXPAX. It's +2 Zerglings versus the +1 Zealots. They just do not trade altogether that well. And Zealot Rumby's have been set up, but I mean, they're attacking into a 5th base that isn't saturated because Serral's only at 75 workers. You know, Serral's completely comfortable with the work count that he's at, and now you're attacking 40 army supply down. MAXPAX, this is not looking good for him. It does not feel like this game is going the way he wanted. The Stasis Ward is triggered, but it doesn't get enough. And GG, Serral is going to take it 4-1. Only dropping 1 game this entire tournament.